Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Tia from Tia Karen Interiors, and today we're going to talk about contemporary interior design. But before we get to that, we're going to go through memory lane and a little history into how we got to contemporary interior design. And that is so that when you go interior shopping, we're buying furniture, picking out pieces, you know exactly what to look out for, and you're very clear about what contemporary is and what it is not, if contemporary is what you like. So let's jump straight into our little history lesson. So of course, before contemporary interior design, we had Art Nouveau, and this was one of the greatest artists in Art Nouveau. His name was Alfonso Moha, someone that I also really like the art of. I really like his art, to be fair. And it was Art Nouveau in a nutshell was pretty much all about embellishments and about beauty, and also celebrating the curve and I would also say the female figure. And we can see here that there were a lot of curves, and it's really accentuating the romantic element of life and having all those embellishments. And this is what was going on in the art world. And of course, what was going on in art was also influencing architecture. And this is, it's the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. If you have been to Barcelona, then you know of this. And if you have not, please take me with you next time that you do decide to go. But we can see here that this is one of Gaudi's greatest works, and architecture in this period of time was also following that very embellished, very curve-like, very kind of nature esque form. And what was happening in art was also happening in architecture and also in interior design. As we can see, I do love this though. It has like the staircase has that beautiful curve, as we can imagine in that female figure that we just saw before, right? And all of those embellishments, right? And this is one of the greatest interiors of Art Nouveau, in my opinion. And we can see the beauty, but we can also see that there is a lot of embellishments. And then this is the interior of the Sagrada Familia, the architecture that we just looked at before in Barcelona, and this is the interior. It is very beautiful, yes, but we can also see that it is very embellished, right? And it is very different from what we associate with contemporary interior design, and that is correct, because we then historically moved into the 20th century and into a whole new era, whereby the founders of the modernist approach, of modernism, really rejected that embellishment and founded this new concept called form follows function, right? And and Bauhaus, of course, was one of the most important movements there. And this is one of the greatest important pieces of architecture, right, in the Bauhaus movement. And we can see how here form really follows function. We're really moving into logical shapes, we're moving into geometrical shapes, right? We're going away from all that embellishment and romanticism and all that curve that we saw before in the Art Nouveau era. Even if it was beautiful to look at, we can see that architecture changed. And of course, architecture was changing and art was also changing, because, well, the creative world is all one and mixed up, right? So this, for example, is some of the art that was being produced during that time, and we can see that the lines are very different, very geometrical, very logical, very form follows function. And that also went into the furniture of the time, right? It's kind of, if we look at this chair, the concept was, if form follows function, what is a function of a chair? To sit down. Therefore, all you need is a chair that sits down and is supported. There is no embellishment, there isn't some romantic drama embellishment that I do love in Art Nouveau, but it is not functional and it is not essential. So pretty much the founding fathers of the Bauhaus and modernism approach really decided that, well, that was no longer necessary, and really rejected all that embellishment, right? And we can also see that here, like with these tables. So what is the function of a table? Well, to place things on. So as long as you can place things on the top and it is supported, it's done, it's finished, no embellishment, no curves. But of course we do also have curves in contemporary, and it is a little bit different, so wait until the end and I'll show you how contemporary curves are a little bit different. So anyway, going back to this picture of these chairs, we can see here how the form follows function, and it's very simple. Everything became very simplistic. And then what is contemporary interior design? This is what we've probably associated with contemporary interior design, right? And it is correct, because contemporary interior design is pretty much just a continuation of the modernism and the modern art movement, right? And we can see here that it follows the same kind of concepts with very logical and geometrical shapes, right? There isn't so much embellishment, so much beauty. It is the form follows function, and the shapes are very geometrical. If you do wait a second, I'm just going to go back to that art. You can see how the art here in the Bauhaus is very geometrical, even if they have different sizes and different shapes. They're pretty much geometrical and very logical shapes. And in the same way that we see that contemporary interior design is just a continuation of that. And as we can see in architecture as well, that we do have those geometrical shapes and not too much embellishments and not too much beauty, as we did see earlier before in the interiors from the Art Nouveau era, even if they're very beautiful. And of course you can still find them in Barcelona if you do decide to take a trip there. Of course, do invite me, because I do want to go. And then going deeper into the contemporary interior design, we do have those logical shapes. There is not so much embellishment, not so much romanticism as we have seen in the previous picture. But in this picture specifically, I wanted to talk about the curve. So though in Art Nouveau we did have the curve, really accentuating beauty and therefore the feminine figure as well, here the curve does exist as well. And if you have been in many contemporary spaces, or you have been shopping for contemporary interior design furniture, you will have come across probably a lot of seatings, a lot of sofas that do have, you know, curves and shapes of that nature. However, here the curve is different. It follows the function of the furniture piece. It is not there to create extra beauty. It's not there to create something more than it already is. It's just there to support the function of the chair. So it's just a soft edge rather than it being too much drama. So with that, I hope that you have got a little knowledge and better understanding in what contemporary interior design is, so you can go shop and furnish your house in a contemporary way, knowing what to look out for, and definitely also appreciating what Art Nouveau and other types of interior design styles exist, but also being able to know the difference between appreciating the beauty of a different design style and then knowing what you need for your contemporary interior design. So I hope that that gives you I hope that that helps. And of course, if you did like this video, then give it a thumbs up so that I can create more videos like this. I am thinking about creating one about Art Deco, and if you're into Art Deco, then of course, like this video or leave a comment below, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye for now.